Hello, universe. Today I am going to go over a few more tips for success. I am also working on some ideals of love, some different information on love, so I can definitely bring that out into the world so people can get some more understandings as to where they're at in their relationships with love. And that's very, very strong to me, very big deal to me because I do feel that in so many ways we have lived in a world that love is hidden. It's not something we get to see very often. Very rarely is it something that's really right in front of our face. We are all too often have other things thrown at us on a regular basis to actually see love and understand love in some cases not always easily noticed or known. And again, the past 6 months to a year or so, I've had a few people come up to me and express to me how they don't feel like they know love. And I've actually had it in times before that where people have talked to me about having grown up in a way that did not show love, those sorts of things, and myself included. Unfortunately, the one who raised me, it was very much part of the lifestyle in which they were brought up as well, so it's not like the one who raised me knew any better anyway, and it's something that they told me very early on in life, quite honestly. So a little bit more on the tips for success. And these also go in mind with things. Really, when it comes down to it, these are ways to celebrate and be for yourself, for self-love in so many ways as well. But these are tips for success. Learn to say no and mean it. If it's not a full everything in your being to say yes, then it should be a no. If you really mean no, but you're trying to be nice, it should probably be no. If it's not aligned with your goals, it should probably be no. I'm going to come back to this one. If you really mean no, but you're trying to be nice, or you feel obligated, well, if you're trying to be nice and somebody's in a hard way, this is something that's happened to me a couple of times in the past few years, that um, people who probably should have said no or stepped themselves out or removed themselves from situations in which I needed help in. When you show up to help in those instances because you said yes or you feel obligated or however on that, and all you can do is complain, you're not making the situation any better. You're probably making it worse for the person that needs your help. Um, Not only might the situation be a big deal in that person's life, but you're making it about you and you're making it harder for the person that's already going through something. So in a sense, you start to play victim in their party of things. So sadly, in those cases, really think about those sorts of things. You think you're being nice, you feel obligated. Are you really being nice? So learn to say no and mean it. If you mean no, say no. Don't try to be nice about it. And again, that's also a self-love sort of thing at that point as well, because you're not putting yourself in instances or situations or making yourself feel horrible in certain ways and have to let your mouth tell how horrible everything is at that moment. Another way, tip for success, another example of self-love as well, celebrate your little wins. Every little step to your goal is a win. Celebrate it. Every small landmark, every small check mark is a win. Celebrate it. It's something that should be celebrated. And lastly, you're going to hear more from me on this eventually, but clear clutter. Anytime you can get rid of something old, you're setting yourself up for bringing in new things. So clear the clutter. It just makes life easier. It shows a whole lot of representation. These are things that I have actually been working on myself. And I remember when I did one of my biggest projects, in my basement room where I had just collected stuff that had been given to me from my ancestors, my grandmother, my great-grandmother before they had passed away. And it just went into a room and then started anything that I didn't have. have room for, went into that room. And when I finally got into that room to go through stuff, there were some big realizations, big things that I learned about myself, my mother, my grandmother, those sorts of things, through going through some of that stuff. Because again, not all that stuff was mine, hardly any of it was. But getting through it finally was huge, absolutely huge. I learned things on how I don't want to be by going through some of the stuff that wasn't mine and seeing how things were kept, seeing letters that had been written, those sorts of things. So, again, the few quick tips for success today are: learn to say no and mean it, celebrate your little wins, and clear clutter. And again, I am working on some information about love to help get that out into the world and help people realize where they're at on their relationships with love. So I hope you have a wonderful day, universe.